everyone, Shadow the Wolf here, coming back at you with another exciting episode of Cooking with Shadow. Today, I'm sure you can tell by the layout, we're going to be making some sort of dessert. What are we making? We're going to be making my all-time favorite dessert, chocolate chip cookies. Let's begin, shall we? Okay, so first off, we have some of our dry ingredients here. We have 2 1/4 cups of flour. It's sitting in a sifter here. It's very important to sift the dry ingredients so everything gets really nice and smooth and evenly distributed. Now, we got measuring spoons. We are going to take 1 teaspoon of the flour and put it back. The reason being, we have to have a good ratio of the dry ingredients, and we're going to be adding something that's not in one of the original recipes, so we need to make sure we don't have too much dry ingredients, otherwise the cookies will not come out right. So we have that back. Now, next up, we're going to take a look over here at our wet ingredients. So as you can see, we have 2 sticks of melted butter. Now, I melted the butter because that really helps to incorporate the sugar and all of the other wet ingredients and creates a nice, smooth, creamy texture. So, you saw the butter. Now we're going to go ahead and start adding the dry ingredients to our sifter. Now, what we have here is a teaspoon of baking powder. Just going to level that off. Try to get the ratio right with my horrible first vision. Now, we're also going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. Now, the reason we add both baking soda and baking powder, it helps the cookies to rise. It makes them nice and puffy and delicious and awesome. So, level that out. Try not to get any clumps. And boom, in it goes. Alright, so that's done. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the next thing. Okay, so the next ingredient is going to be a ½ teaspoon of salt. Something fell. Okay, so we have a ½ teaspoon of salt. You can use any kind of salt you want, sea salt, regular rock salt, whatever. Just make sure that it's fairly fine grind, because you don't want really crunchy salt in your cookies. It's gross. Now, this is an interesting one. We're actually also going to add a ½ teaspoon of ground black pepper. This might seem strange, but it actually gives the cookies a really nice flavor. I mean, if you think about it, you usually season all your food with salt and pepper. So doing the same with desserts actually works the same. It really brings out a lot of good flavor. So next up, we have our cinnamon, one of my favorite ingredients. Now, the cinnamon is really important. We're going to go ahead and add a whole tablespoon of cinnamon. I'm going to try not to dump this all. Oh, there we go. It's very difficult to see. There we go. Okay, so we have a good tablespoon of cinnamon. It's one of my favorite little secret ingredients. So the cinnamon is in. Now, that's basically all of our dry ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to sift these into the bowl. This gets everything really nice and fine and evenly distributed. There's no clumps. So when we put it into our wet ingredients, it's going to be super, super awesome. I love cookies. So what do you guys think? You like chocolate chip cookies? Let me know in the comments what your favorite dessert is. I might cook it on my show someday. Okay, so there we go. We have our dry ingredients done. Now we're going to move on to the wet ingredients. So the first thing we're going to add is our sugar. So, first one is going to be a full cup of packed dark brown sugar. Now, most of the time when you're using brown sugar, you want to make sure you pack it so it holds its form. You don't want it to be like so hard that to brick, you can kill someone with it. But you do want it to be packed so it holds its shape fairly well when it comes out of the measuring cup. So we got a decent amount packed there. Now we're going to go ahead, dump that into the mixer here with the melted butter. And then we're going to go and do a ½ cup of regular granulated sugar. That is right here. Yeah, it really throws off your depth perception. All right. Okay, there's the sugar. And then, this is another one of my little special secrets. We're going to add a tablespoon of applesauce. I know, right? Weird, but no. Applesauce really takes the cookies to another level. It creates a really good texture, as well as adding just a little bit more flavor to the overall cookie. So applesauce is in. Now we're going to go ahead and put in our eggs while we mix up the butter and the sugar. So go ahead, close the mixer, and get that mixing. So this is essentially going to be creaming the butter and sugar together and getting rid of all that sort of granular texture. It's mixing! Woo! Alright, so we're going to go ahead and lower that down. And we're going to go ahead and add our eggs one at a time. Now, normally I would crack the eggs ahead of time and put them in a custard cup. It's just easy and you avoid the shell. But I forgot, so this time we're just going to go for it. Alright. Didn't see anything going there. That's good. No shell in the cookies. You don't want eggshells in your cookies. That would just be gross. Alright, so that egg is in. Now we're going to add the next one. Perfect. Alright. The egg is mixing quite well. Take a look at that. Just beautiful. You notice that smooth, creamy texture? That is going to make a fantastic cookie. So we're just letting that mix. Now, while this is mixing, we're going to go ahead and add our vanilla. We have the vanilla here, and it is going to be 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Pretty simple, easy to do. Now, I do prefer to use a vanilla bean in the cookie, but I didn't have one today, so we're actually going to use the extract. Now, the reason the vanilla bean works is, well, it's a natural vanilla bean, and it just has a totally wonderful flavor profile, and you really see that come through in the cookie. We have our vanilla in, and that just about takes care of all the wet ingredients. The next step is going to be to add the dry ingredients to our blender and get this thing mixing. So you have to be very careful. You don't want to just dump the whole thing in because you'll have just a plume of flour all over your kitchen and it'll be a mess. So you want to add it in gradually. I'm going to do it from this side so I can see better. See how I'm just shaking it in a little, and then I stop. I let that start to incorporate. When I see it start to go up, I'll add a little more. Stop. Let it incorporate. You see how nothing's flying out of the blender? And it also gives the butter sugar mixture time to really incorporate all these dry ingredients. So add a little more. Woo! Got a little bit of a poof there. Right. A little more. Oh! It is very hard to do this in person. I don't know if you can hear it, but the blender's sort of slowing down because the dough is getting thicker. It's wonderful. Alright. Alright. And then we can put the last bit in. Boom! And that is it. You can see it mix very well. See the dough in there just mixing around, getting nice and yummy. And then we are going to be adding our chocolate chips. Okay, so the mixture's pretty much done. You can see that creaminess right there. Beautiful. And now we add the star of the show, our chocolate chips. Okay, so chocolate chips is pretty easy. You just open up the bag and dump them in. Now, I stopped the blender because I don't want to put these in while it's running because they'll fly everywhere, kind of. You gotta be careful, so I just prefer to stop it, and then I'll just add 2 cups of chocolate chips. Hopefully I don't spill these, because I can only see very little. Ooh. Oh, that's the whole bag. Okay. Nice. So for simplicity's sake, 1 bag of chocolate chips. Oh, there's still some in here. Okay. We've got that in. One of them fell out. Now let's go ahead and mix those up. Look at that. Beautiful. And you notice how the dough is really thick and creamy. This is going to make a fantastic cookie. Alright, so the chocolate chips have mixed pretty well, so that's done. And bam, cookie dough is ready. But actually, no it's not. There's one more very special, important thing you do with cookies. I'm actually going to put this dough in the refrigerator and I'm going to let it set for a good couple of hours. What this does is it firms the dough and allows you to make it into consistent cookies, and it also allows the flavors to really build and mix together. So we're going to go ahead and scoop this out and then put it in the refrigerator, and that will be ready in just a couple of hours. Okay, so we have our cookie dough here. Now we're just going to go ahead and get it out of the mixing bowl and just put it into a glass bowl. The same one we were using for our dry ingredients, so we don't have to dirty something extra. We're just going to put that in there and get it in the fridge for, let's say, maybe 4 hours. Now, depending on how thick your dough is, you may have to do it longer. If your dough is really thin, you may have to let it sit overnight so it has time to refirm, because remember, we used melted butter, so that butter has to have time to refirm. Otherwise, it will be too gooey and too, almost non-butter-like to form into a consistent cookie. So that is done. We have our cookie dough in the bowl. You see that right here? Now we're just going to go ahead and cover this and get it in the fridge. Okay everyone, we're back. It's been a couple of hours later. The cookie dough should be nice and firm and ready to put on the sheet. We have the cookie sheet here, and we got the oven preheating, so let's go over to the fridge and let's get our cookies out.
Hello, it's me.
Alright, so we got our cookie dough. You can see it right here. It's firmed up quite a bit, so it'll be really easy to scoop and make into cookie form. Let's get scooping. Alright everybody, so we got our cookies here on the tray. Now we're going to go ahead and take these over to the oven. Let's go! Alright guys, so while we're waiting for those cookies to bake, we are going to just relax and enjoy the wonderful smell that is now filling my house. It should take only about 11 minutes for the cookies to bake, and then they'll be nice and hot, and we'll let those cool and you'll get to see the final delicious product. Alright guys, we're back. So I just took the cookies out of the oven. I transferred them over to the cooling rack here so they can cool down and be safe to eat, not so hot. So look at those. Those are beautiful cookies. Now I know what you're thinking, oh my god, Shadow, they look stuck together. What went wrong? Nothing went wrong. This is actually what I wanted. This sort of connecting of the cookies, this actually helped them kind of stay a little more poofy. They didn't fall. If they were spread out too much, it would have more room to sort of melt in the oven and get really flat, thin cookies. This kind of helped them maintain their size, and it's fine. Once they're cool, I can cut them apart and they will be delicious. Well everyone, that has been another exciting episode of Cooking with Shadow. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make some really good chocolate chip cookies. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications, that way you don't get lost in the YouTube algorithm. And come back next time for another awesome cooking show. Have a nice day. Bye-bye!